Hi folks, Corey Hind, hope you're well. Thanks for grabbing this short lesson. Hopefully this is really useful. It won't go for too long, but it will help you to adjust to the changes in Google. So we've been talking in our Facebook group and with various people about how much Google's changed in 2024. And it's really important because, for lots of businesses, they get lots of their leads and business growth from Google. And you've got to be aware of these changes. So this video is going to teach you a bit about how to create content that will help your business rank higher on Google. Now, my angle is Australia, New Zealand, America, English-speaking countries, trades, businesses, service providers, that sort of place that has a website and a Google business profile, because both of those can be used to help you rank higher on Google. Now, before we get into the meat of it, I'll show you just over here briefly a bit of a change on Google. So this is a search I've done locally, and this is a client of mine, just as a disclaimer. So you'll see that for this search, Organic Food Store, as you would expect, there's a website up the top, that's them. Now, this is different to many years ago. You get the Google Map Pack listings just there, and that's different. They're up the top there, which is great. So that wasn't in play multiple years ago, but it is now. Then you get the people also asks. That's interesting. That gives us some hints about things you could create for your marketing on social or your blog or Google Business Profile, etc. Then we get another one of their links to their page. Then we get a Facebook page of theirs. Then we get a Medium, which is like a blogging article place. So what that shows us is that this year in particular, the Google algorithm is serving up far more varied results than what it did in the past. So it's serving up social media pages, it's serving up other blogging platforms, it's serving up featured snippets up the top, which is when Google just gives you an answer to your query, so you don't have to go somewhere else. It's serving up Google Business Profiles, all these things that are different. In the past, you'd search for something and you'd really just find websites. That's what you'd find, articles, blogs. So there's been change, and this year, I feel strongly that the position has come around again where you can create content and get it across other places on Google, because as we showed you on the previous page, that stuff's now ranking. Now, if you look back at this client of mine, they're blanket in page one, right? They've got the top URL there. They've got the top Google Business Profile. They've got the next listing here. They've got a social media. They've got another blogging spot there. So the potential is there to really squash out your opposition via content marketing. I talk about content marketing because it's a big part of SEO. When you're trying to rank high on Google, once you've done the technical stuff, the game really is content and getting links back to your website. So this is more about the content. Okay, there's a bunch of dudes brainstorming, not me, just a photo from Unsplash. Thank you. So 2 quick points. Marketing content can be the difference between you and your competition. So you've got a person you're competing with on Google. If you can out market them, out SEO them, you're on top, your business wins. Okay, it can be a wonderful element to your business. Now, next little thing, I shared this on Facebook yesterday, which was I've been out on the bike thinking about, probably myself and how I help people for free often, and then how I help clients who pay. Now, the people who pay for SEO, so in reality, this is who's winning on Google, right? The companies that hire SEO help, they're up the top. The companies that produce lots of content in their niche, they're on top. That's who's beating you on Google. Okay, so if you're not going to hire help, and I highly recommend that you do because it's important, then you need to be producing good content to outrank these guys. So here's 3 points I put on Facebook. Number 1 was, if you knew how much business the top ranked listings on Google got, you'd be stunned. We have clients where as high as 75% of their new business comes from Google search. 75% of their new business comes from Google search. That could be via their website and or Google Business Profile. That is massive. That is massive. I believe that, point number 2, if you're not investing in SEO in some way, you're going backwards. And that doesn't necessarily mean hiring people. That could be training, that could be outsourcing, that could be learning and doing. But if you're not doing it, you're going backwards. The example is this year alone. We've got people in our free group who reach out and they've tanked from page 1 of Google to page 3 of Google in the 1 year. And so what have you done? Nothing. So nothing is done, nothing happens, and that's a really important point. So I believe that not having Google help in your business is quite frankly and quite bluntly a critical business mistake. I think I'm going to get more vocal about this as I get older and grumpier, because business owners run around with their hair on fire trying to put out fires, and SEO is one of them. It's not a small fire in your business. This is huge. Somebody in your industry is creaming it from Google, and if it's not you, I challenge you to level up. Okay, it's really important stuff. So what we're going to try and walk you through now is hopefully this has woken you up slightly. Okay, I think sometimes with my educational products, I'm a bit too nice about it and a bit too aware and friendly, and I help people out and give them some tips, and off they go, and everybody feels good, pats on backs, blah, blah, blah. But I think I need to be a bit harsher about it. You know, there are people killing you on Google, making lots of money off Google, and it's not you. Okay, wake up. All right. So let's see if we can help you produce some content that's going to help you do better on Google. Now that Google's getting results from Facebook and Medium and Twitter and Google Business Profile, what can we do about it? Okay, so we've used some of this content before, so you might have seen these words before, but it's worth reading through this document again. Okay, you want to think as broadly as you can. How can you connect with potential clients via content that not only connects with people, but it connects with Google? Because Google's at that point now where it's very intuitive, and if your content helps people, then it would generally help Google as well. That's where we're at with Google. Okay, so buckle in, make some notes, write down things you might want to produce, and then where you're going to produce it, and get busy doing the work. Okay, because back up here, there should be a point 3. Who's beating you on Google? People working harder on their SEO. It's not easy, it's bloody hard work, and you've got to buckle down and do it. Otherwise, you'll turn up in the next Facebook group looking for some free shortcuts. That ain't going to work. It doesn't work like that. Okay, so these questions I'm going to ask you are really just things to get you thinking about what you can produce. Okay, and the first one is quite simply, when your phone rings or you get messaged in your business in some way, what are people asking you? Okay, just make a list of questions. Now, if you only did this and made a list of 100 questions that you get in your business that to you are old hat, things you've talked about multiple times, things you know off the top of your head, if you just made a list of questions and produced answers to those, you could install those on Facebook, you could install those on your FAQ page on your website, you could install those on the Q&A section of Google Business Profile, you could use those in a multitude of places, and that would help you, because Google is essentially a giant Q&A service. Okay, it's something we go to find an answer, whether that's something we're thinking about or a business that we're looking for. That's what Google is inherently. It's a way to organize answers to things. So if we can produce a whole bunch of questions, then that's a really good start. So you could have an FAQ page. This link here, when you grab this document as part of this course, we have a page on our website which talks about Publer, which is just a social media management tool, but it's really cool because you've got a free option that you can use, and it will help you to get those questions out onto your socials. So you might decide you've got 10 really hot questions you get in your business, and you might decide you're going to get them onto Google Business Profile, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Publer would let you do all of that in a streamlined way for free and disseminate that information lightning fast. So consider that. If you go back to that, what's your top question? What's the most frequently asked question you get in your business? Is there one question that you get? Could you go deeper, make an entire guide about that question? Could you shoot a YouTube video or even an entire YouTube channel about that one question? Could you dominate that question? Is there one question that generates all of the traffic for your niche in your business? It might be, who's the best mortgage broker in town? It might be, how do I save money on this or that? How do I service my car, or whatever it might be, whatever business you're in, is there one question that is the most often asked question? Can you turn that into a big resource that could potentially dominate Google or turn into the featured snippet right up the top of Google, which would drive traffic to your website and help you on Google? This tip here is about, maybe you want to write a short answer for that big thing, test it out, see how people engage, see if it uncovers more questions related to their question, to then figure out if you need to create something bigger. Okay, so you can read more about this on this document as well. Next one is ask your staff or your team. What are people in the business asking us when we get messaged, when we get phoned? Because sometimes you'll find that people ask staff members or other people in the business different questions than they ask you. Great example would be accounting. You might ask the accountant assistant or reception desk people, for example, basic questions that you might not ask the main accountant because you don't want to feel silly, that sort of thing. So that's a place to look as well in your own team. What else are we hearing about it there, guys? What else can we produce? The next one is when you go to Google, you type your question in and you'll be given people also ask and then related searches. Okay, so if we go back to this one, you look on the middle here, people also ask. Now, if you're looking for an organic food store and Google's giving you these 4, so Google's telling you, hey, people are looking for this stuff, so why don't you answer those as well? Now, here's a magic trick. Click on the question, click on it again, it'll give you more questions. Okay, click on that, click on it again, you'll get more. So this goes on and on and on. You can produce all these questions just from the Google people also ask, and that could be the start of your journey of content creation. So that's something that we recommend. Then often down the bottom there'll be related searches as well, or more people also ask, and then related searches down here. So all of this is just information that you can use. It's really useful because it's coming straight from the horse's mouth. It's coming straight from Google. All right, now that is probably for most businesses outside of, if I had to do just 2 things, I would look at the questions we get in the business via Facebook, email, etc. And then I do this process as well, because that's real people and that's real Google. And I'd do that. Definitely those 2 are the hottest ones there. Similar to the previous one, go a bit more broadly. When your friends talk to you about your business, what are they asking you? How can you produce educational content or Q&As or short videos about that? So that's another option as well. The other one will be go back to your entire year. Maybe there's been some big changes in your industry, like I'm doing right here, right now. There's been some changes in Google search, so I'm talking about that because our clients and potential clients and people who absorb our educational material, they want to know this stuff. You might be in electronic vehicles. You might want to talk about battery technology. It might be a new product that's come on. There might be new chargers. There might be all sorts of things that you need to talk about. So go into that, look back on the year, give your hot take on it as an expert. That could be a video. We have a client in our business who's a mortgage broker. He does this exceptionally well. He has built an amazing business by just shooting videos regularly. That's all he really does. He shoots videos regularly and talks about changes in the industry, new information, and that has elevated him to number 1 for his niche in his area, has been for quite some time. So again, when I shoot a video like this, it's important to say, hey, you don't need to necessarily do all of this stuff all the time, but you need to do something. Something small consistently is better than nothing, or a broad brush approach to doing all the things at the same time. Okay. There's other things you can use as well, like buzzsumo.com. That's quite useful still. It'll give you ideas about trending topics. So buzzsumo.com. There's also answerthepublic.com. You need to sign up for a trial for that now. It used to be better, but it's still useful. So go and check it out. So Neil Patel's bought that to give him some more web traffic and leads to his business because he's a very savvy operator, like Neil. So there are some other options you can use. Again, probably going back to square one with this, I would probably start with a blank Google document and just jot down these questions and topics as you go, and filter through them and just see. You could create a whole year worth of stuff to do and then figure out which ones are going to be more impactful for your business. Start with those, work your way down the list, adjust as feedback and data comes in from people and questions come in. You might need to upgrade things. The beautiful thing is if you do a blog article, for example, you can always add to it, expand on it, build it into something more expansive over time. You don't have to publish it and leave it there forever. That's the beauty of the digital world. We can just expand as we go. What about news, current affairs? Is there anything you could talk about in your niche that's related to the current news? So there's always things happening. Back to mortgage brokers, they might be talking about the economy or the election or cost of living, all that sort of stuff, and related back to house prices. As I said down here, we've even had clients turn their Facebook pages into local news channels for their little town or area. So there's a load of ways you can do this. Okay, I think the key is to identify the key. With our SEO clients, one of the first things we do is we establish a bullseye phrase, the top phrase that's going to move the needle in their business on Google search. Okay, so mechanic, town, basic searches that people will search for when they're looking for your business. So, when it comes, you get all these things you want to create. Always think, how does it relate back to that main bullseye phrase? Can we start with things that include that bullseye phrase? Okay. Next one is what about how-tos? Okay, so the YouTube game, for example, is driven entirely from how-tos. Most of the big YouTube channels in the educational space will start all their videos with how to blah, blah, blah. Is that something you can do? Can you create educational videos or checklists or resources that help people do your thing? It's exactly what I'm doing now. I create loads of educational content. I pretty much give away 90% of our processes to people because A, it helps to build our credibility, but also there's a percentage of people who simply don't want to do it. They'd rather pay the experts to do it for them. Much like anything, any business, you can service your own car, but you might as well hire the pros. So why not become an educational place, a resource that people rely on? They go to your website, you get the web traffic, people talk about you, and then eventually Google ranks you higher, people talk about you, and you get more business, because that's what we're here to do, is get more business. Might have mentioned before, checklists. Who doesn't love a good checklist? The one we use down here, and this article was first developed just after COVID. So, we were booking our first travel after COVID, and we're like, I just need a really good checklist on all the things I need to double check when I'm going to travel. Do I need a visa? Do I need a vaccination? Do I need to apply for something special to go to this certain place? So checklists, just work through the list. Really useful, really, really useful. Can you do that? Now, the next thing that we advise people to do when they're looking for, how to create content that's going to help them is just do your old-fashioned research. Go to the top businesses on Google in your niche and check out what they're doing. Have they got some ideas you can use or improve upon? So if you've got a business that's above you on Google and you look through all their articles and the things that they're winning on Google for, they might have this resource and you go, I'm going to actually pay someone to make a better one of that, because, much like a recipe, right? Let's say you cook a certain recipe and you Google it you might cook it once a month and you end up forgetting where the recipe is. So you Google it every month and you end up finding the same recipe every time. Now, invariably, that will be on a big cooking or food related website. That recipe gets all the Google clicks compared to the one that's fifth on the list. So why not try and make a better thing that ranks up the top? Another example would be, back to mortgages at the top, would be mortgage calculator. Mortgage calculators get 10 times as much search traffic in New Zealand as mortgage broker as a phrase. So think about that. Is there a tool online in your business that people use that you could adapt to? So look, I'm going to stop the training there because I wanted to keep it under 20. All of this is just idea generation. Then you have to start producing the content and making it appealing to Google. Okay, so if you need any help with that, that's what we do. Talk to us. We're an SEO consultancy, so we help people rank higher on Google by doing this sort of stuff. So talk to us. Further help, you'll see our contact link there. We've got our Substack article list there, which is a great place to go and read our articles because they're very useful. All right, guys, hopefully you found that very engaging and helpful, and I'd love to hear any feedback. If you've got questions, reach out. Thanks. Bye for now.